Hello and welcome back to another episode of Who's This Guy? Now not featuring microphone stand. My legal team have advised me not to talk about it, but just between you and me, it was like a toxic work environment. He started his own YouTube show called Who's This Dude? I don't want to talk about this anymore. This interview's over. On today's episode, I'm scared, guys, because I'm here to say after the review hype has died down, after it was on a bunch of 2023 Game of the Year lists, and all the review scores are in the stratosphere, I finally played Mario Wonder, and my reaction is good. It's not great. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's bad. I think it's a fun little ride. It's definitely good for some co-op giggles. I guess I'm just not really seeing what everyone else is. Now, before you completely write me off, there's a very good chance this is a me problem. I'm the crazy one. You're all correct. Mario Wonder is a masterpiece, and I'm just over here in the corner in my straitjacket saying, well, it's a decent platform with some fun gimmicks thrown in. Anyway, let's investigate and find out if I'm properly nuts. Let's do it. First things first, I like Mario. Slow down the controversial statements there, Sam. I think the second game I ever played right after Crystal Caves, what a banger, was Super Mario Land on the original Nintendo brick Game Boy. My childhood was all about Mario 64, Mario Kart, Mario Tennis. I even enjoyed Sunshine, which we all know is a stealth precursor to Power Wash Simulator. This is so relaxing, it's meditative. This is meditative too. If Mario doesn't clean this shit up, no one will. More recently, I loved 3D World, easily one of the best co-op experiences I've had. Bowser's Fury is a really cool twist on the traditional 3D Mario formula. This open world vibe really works for our little moustachioed butterball. And even though the Bowser sections got a little bit tedious after a while, it was neat to see them doing something different. Do I even need to say anything about Odyssey? Oh, okay. It's obviously great. The creativity here is out of control. There's so many delightful moments that had me on my couch going, Mario's a bullet bill, change up. Ah! One of my favorite things about Odyssey was that feeling that you're on a journey, that you're moving through tangible spaces. Something to keep in mind for later. Oh, and I've got this little guy. He weights down my various papers. I've used the cube as a hammer on numerous occasions. I even do a really good Mario impersonation. Let's go. So, yeah, I like Mario. He's a cool dude. Chapter 1. Good job, Mario. Let's state the obvious right away and say that objectively speaking, Mario Wonder is a good game. The controls are great. There's lots of fun to be had here. I didn't encounter any bugs throughout my entire playthrough. This thing is tight. While I'm on controls, I actually think these are a pretty big improvement in Mario Wonder. There's always been a little bit of a slippery vibe. I feel like you always end up slightly further over than where you want to be. Even in Odyssey, which I absolutely adore, this slippery dipperiness still perturbed me a little bit. Cue the comments about how I suck at Mario games. Not to be so mean, guys. The actual developers obviously thought this needed a little bit of work because the characters in Wonder are way less slippery. Precision platforming feels more achievable here, and you will need it on some of these later levels that get pretty tricky. Overall, this game feels as smooth as my face is hairy. There's some really pleasant animations in here as well. These elephants are indeed charming, especially when there's two of you in co-op stomping around. Very sexy. Or the way your cap flaps in the breeze, or the way that characters wiggle in and out of pipes. These jellies are just magnificent. My favorite moment was probably when this Goomba got trapped by snow, and then he just sort of decided this is where he lives now. But then I thought that seems like a pretty depressing experience, so I showed him mercy and ended things. An obvious attempt has been made here to give you more to do than just run left to right. They've got these mini levels peppered throughout the world map, and it does create a nice change of pace from your longer levels. Although I would have preferred to just have had these be full-size levels, because when you look at the world map, you go, whoa, look at all these levels, and then you slowly realize that a third of these don't last very long at all. Some of these mini levels take 15 seconds to complete. Not to mention these levels where you go into this dude's house, you talk to him, and then you leave again, and that's a level that takes up a space on the world map. Yeah, the Wonder Seed sections are cool. They add some much needed flavor to the traditional Mario platforming formula, and they'll definitely make you go, ooh, the first time you see them. The reviews saying that these are unique to each level, I'm gonna call bullshit on that one. They do repeat. Most of them end just as you're starting to say, oh, this is cool. Oh. And everything just goes back to the way it was. Overall, they're definitely a positive addition though, and man, just look at these jelly dudes. So Mario Wonder plays well, is charming, and has decent gameplay variety going on. So what's the problem, Sam? Huh? The title. Chapter 2, A House with No Walls. So the issue I have with Wonder is that all of this good gameplay and charm, it just all feels a bit pointless. Yes, I know that ultimately you can boil all video games, and for that matter, like everything we do in life, down to being pointless at some point. Oh God, what are we all doing here? But can I just get like a sense of progression or something here, please? So I'm gonna feel like I'm doing more than just doing level, next level, next level, next level. I think about Rayman Legends and how that game is constantly drip feeding you with new characters, levels, secrets to discover. Comparing Wonder to games like that makes it feel a bit barren around the edges. And yes, Nintendo has always been a gameplay first company, but Odyssey had tons of secrets to discover, outfits to unlock, whole new evolved areas to explore once you finish the game. Finishing the game in Wonder gives you nothing other than this guy saying, hey, do you want to clean up all the shit you left behind the first time through? What? This whole game's vibe feels like it should be chock full of things to discover, secrets to find, characters to unlock, but there's just nothing. When I started the game and saw the character roster, I thought, oh, this is just the same old crew, but you know, people are going nuts about this game, so I'm sure I'm going to unlock some cool new characters. Maybe I'll get to play as Pikachu, or I don't know, like maybe we'll get a Super Smash Brothers style cameo from like Solid Snake and he'll snap some Goombas necks or something, but nothing. While I'm whinging about characters, why can't I play as Yoshi without foregoing the ability to use power-ups? Maybe I want Yoshi to be able to die and use power-ups so that I can use him, her, reptile, dinosaur, lizard, dog, someone help, so that I can use this character without it feeling like a compromised experience. I want Elephant Yoshi. Let me play as a Goomba. Oh, you do get to play. You do get to play as a Goomba. This Goomba stealth section's actually pretty rad, so I'll retract that statement. I get that adding in more characters is more work for the artist, but this is a full-size Nintendo major release, and this character roster is less than wonderful. For a title that was marketed and reviewed as a major shakeup for the Mario formula, this stuff around the edges feels weirdly unambitious. Do I sound insane? Does this stuff bother anyone else? I'm genuinely curious. Am I the problem?
No, it's the children who are wrong.
Maybe it's not fair to compare the stuff around the edges of this game to something like Mario Odyssey because that's a 3D adventure and this is a 2D adventure. But I mean, they're both marketed as full-blown major Nintendo releases. And in terms of content, Odyssey blows this thing out of the water. Plus, Odyssey lets me look at Mario's 3D buns as much as I want, so that's a good thing. Nice pants. I guess what I'm trying to say in a rambling, incoherent, ridiculous way is that what we have here is excellent gameplay surrounded by, at best, not much, and at worst, nothing. And this is not to say this makes Mario Wonder a bad game. What I am saying is that if you surrounded this solid gameplay with some secrets, some actually meaningful collectibles, some characters to unlock, this thing would be absolutely incredible. Again, maybe this is just a me problem. All the reviews are great. People are loving it, so maybe I'm just being a greedy little shit. Chapter 3, the gamiest game to ever game. It's time to really get the pitchforks ready, everyone. Because here's the part where I say I think I might be a bit over the way Nintendo presents levels in 2D Mario games. This was also kind of a problem in 3D World, to be fair, as much as I love that game. Now, I don't mean the level layouts themselves. This is still masterful shit, and no one places a platform better than Nintendo. But it's the way those platforms are presented that's starting to wear on me a little bit. Even with the Wonder Seed evolutions of the levels, it's never been more apparent that these are game asset objects. There's zero sense of illusion here that these are lived in tangible spaces or existing worlds that our heroes are traversing. Sure, there's some lava here, there's some ice here, but I never felt like I was on a journey to face Bowser. I just felt like I played a bunch of random levels and then there was a big boss fight at the end. Playing through those levels was fun, but man, if there was some context and some more connective tissue here, it would have been great. Now, if the above paragraph has made absolutely no sense to you, which wouldn't surprise me because I don't make sense at the best of times, I'll use another Nintendo-made platformer to try to illustrate my point. So in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Fruit Punch, there's a series of levels in the jungle where you're basically witnessing the process by which the animals living there make fruit juice. So instead of jumping on traditional platforms, you're jumping on watermelons that are getting chopped up. Instead of dodging generic traps, you're dodging chopping knives and blenders and graters. Every part of these levels is telling you a story about the environment as you move through it and as you're doing challenging platforming. I find myself wishing that Mario Wonder had this kind of environmental storytelling. Yes, I know that 2D 2D Mario has always just had this traditional jump on the platforms gameplay. But imagine if there were levels in here where you were seeing like Koopa Troopers manufacturing their helmets, or like you went into a creepy Goomba cave and got to see where they come from. Let's shake this shit up. Let's shake these levels up. Not just do the same level presentation we've always done, but now occasionally the pipes move. Or things go into silhouette. What a revolution! Again, I don't know, does this stuff bother anyone else, or is it just me? Also, when I first saw the gameplay reveal for Mario Wonder, I thought it was a phone game. What? Chapter 4. Mamma Mia. It's a Switch game. This is less to do with graphical power and more to do with some of the aesthetic choices that Nintendo made for Mario Wonder. But yeah, when I first caught a glimpse of this game, I genuinely thought it was coming out on phones. I think it was mostly these little word pop-ups. I don't need a pat on the head every time I jump on a Goomba. I did it good. I'm also not a huge fan of this art style, and man, this is so subjective. It's just not really for me. Everything just feels a bit cheap and flat. There's not much depth going on here. There are a few levels where you get some cool layers, but everything else just kind of looks like a flat backdrop. Sam, Mario has always been this way. This is how you make the classics, you knobhead. Yeah, I know. It's just as I was playing through Wonder, I kept imagining how amazing this would be. If it felt like we were going on an adventure through actual, like, lived-in locations. Imagine if we were going through, like, a Goomba village and they were going about their daily activities. I really like Goombas. I know I'm talking a lot of shade about this game, but it just about gets Game of the Year for me anyway, just because of these big boys. Am I crazy thinking that all these reviews saying that this is like the best looking game on the Switch are kind of overdoing it a bit? I think sometimes people can get really swept up in how much they like one aspect of a game that they either overlook or elevate other areas that might not be so good. I really like the way this game plays, but I think there's a lot of other aspects here that are kind of weak. And this whole idea of kind of being swept up in the hype and the positive review cycle brings us neatly to Chapter 5. Game of the Year? Oh, I guess I think so too. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure that plenty of people genuinely thought Mario Wonder was the best game of 2023. And I don't really blame them either. If you're a pure gameplay and control kind of person, you're going to be hard pressed to find anything out right now that does it better than Wonder. I think that things start to get a little weird when reviewers are saying things like, a total revolution of both the Mario series and the platforming genre in general. The best game in the Mario series. Mario Wonder is the best looking game on the Switch. Really? There's a truckload of games on the Switch that look better than this, including ones made by Nintendo, like Luigi's Mansion 3. If you want to tell me this is the best looking 2D side-scroller on the Switch, I might be able to get down with that, as long as you're not including these 2D sections in Odyssey, because goddamn, when people say that Wonder was a revolution of the Mario series, Wonder's innovations like, here's our traditional 2D level designs, but occasionally things go nuts for 30 seconds. I mean, unless you count removing the time limit and scores as innovation, completely removing any incentive to try to hit the top of the flagpole, other than like another little pat on the head from Nintendo. It does feel good though. None of these things make Wonder a bad game. For me, it just throws it into that category of games where there's this tidal wave of early positive reviews that create this weird echo chamber where all the reviewers are basically just saying who can kiss the game's ass the most. Then we get 6 months down the track and we go, yeah, the game's pretty good, but geez, we got a bit carried away there. I think it's even weirder when it comes to Mario games, because critiquing the kingpin of gaming is a great way to get yourself straight to the internet naughty corner. I'm on a timeout. Chapter 6. I come in peace. Mario Wonder is a good game. I just don't think it's a great one. Games don't have to be the best thing since Goombas, or the worst thing since Ubisoft's PR strategy for Skull and Bones. Quadruple A? I guess I'm trying to close this thing out with a hopeless attempt to say that we should be comfortable in wading through the grey areas when we talk about games. And not just in games, but anything in life that we choose to analyze. Let's talk about the good stuff, the bad stuff, the mid stuff, the sexy stuff. This is where the interesting conversations happen, rather than just screaming at each other and sitting at either end of extreme scales. So yeah, try not to hate me because I didn't think Mario Wonder was the bee's knees. Why is it called the bee's knees? Can someone explain this to me? Do bees like land knee first on flowers so their knees have got pollen on them and then their knees are like sweet or something? Are there any bee experts that can tell me the answer to this?
To the Beemobile!
You mean your Chevy?
Yes.
Give me this gameplay again, but wrap it up in some unlockables, some secret characters, secret areas, a real sense of progression, and man, that would be one hell of a game. And let's give some civil discourse about games a chance. Unless that game is Starfield, that game fucking sucks. everyone, thanks so much for watching my video. I just kid about Starfield. I just really wish I loved that game. I love all of Bethesda's other stuff. And if you're enjoying Starfield, I'm incredibly jealous of you. If you've enjoyed watching me ramble about Mario Wonder, you'll probably enjoy this video just as much, if not more. My name's Sam. Thanks so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me, and I'll see you soon.